right now on the #1 air hot seat, so you know it's going to be tough. We bring to you Tony Pollard. How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. How y'all doing?
I'm good. It feels a little weird that I technically don't officially say Dallas Cowboys Tony Pollard. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll just dive right into it.
Oh, my gosh.
Look, he knows we're going to ask. You're aware that we're probably going to ask, hey, we're the home of the Cowboys. You're on the Cowboys, or are you? What's the story there? Do you take some time to just decompress from football altogether, or is there already early discussions about, hey, what can we do to keep me around?
You definitely have to take time to, decompress, get away from things, just with it being such a long, taxing season. But at the moment, it's really it's hard for me to tell right now. It's early in the year, and technically the season's still going on. So I say after the Super Bowl and once the free agency market gets going, then we'll have a better picture.
Is that why you didn't know about Dan Quinn?
I hadn't been on social media, really. I got
decision.
Rid of Instagram, Twitter, so I missed a lot of updates and things that came out.
Everybody's losing their mind about. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this is." And I'm like, "Come on, man! You get away from the game for a minute. You step away. You step away from all of it every once in a while." Mm-hmm. If I could, I'd go off the grid, throw the phone away, and just be out by the pond fishing every day.
And this might be too simplistic, but I also wanted to be like, Tony Pollard plays on offense. It's not like your offensive coordinator left. I feel like they would have been like, hey, just a heads up, if and when you come back, might have a totally different system. So that was something that popped into my head along the way.
I like the chain, man. That's subtle. That's it's not too out there and everything. That's nice and subtle.
I appreciate that.
I do have a question regarding bathroom etiquette. All right, so I was just standing next to J.J. Watt in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I almost tackled Emmitt Smith coming out of the bathroom when he was going into the bathroom. That would have been pretty awesome. He probably would have spun out of my tackle. You're right.
Sorry, this is the show that you're here for.
But the thing is, I wanted to talk to J.J. Watt, but I was like, bathroom seems like the wrong time. Yeah. Are we all in agreement that bathroom is the wrong time to chat?
I think we all can agree on that one.
Okay. All right, we did good there.
Yeah, you did right. You did right.
I'll catch him somewhere else.
Good job. If it was, I'm trying to think who would have broken that rule for you. I'm trying to think who it would have been that you've been like, I got to say something.
I did have a time where I was in the bathroom, and a guy said, I never thought we'd meet this way. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And he was like, big fan of the show. So I was like, okay, all right. So it worked out that way. That was one of the first times I was ever recognized in public.
To each his own.
Okay, I might not convince you on this. Is there somebody in life that you would consider breaking that rule for? Like, they just rolled up. Like, if Usher just rolled up at the bathroom, would you be like, I gotta say something now?
Not in the bathroom.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. The rule is the rule, Kevin.
Okay,
we
fair.
decided.
If you had your perfect Super Bowl halftime show, who would it be? Obviously, Usher's doing it this year, but if you were in charge of next year's halftime show, who would be?
I can name several artists.
Yeah, let's say they collaborated for a halftime show.
I would keep Usher. I would come with like Bruno Mars.
That's a good one. That's an entertainer.
And probably Beyonce.
Okay.
There you
go.
I
think they have a star-studded lineup. I like it right there.
Yeah. And every time I rolled through Memphis, I always felt like Timberlake owns all the radio stations there. I would be like, man, he's playing on everything here. I think he actually does have a radio station down there too. So the running back market this season, where in the way that it's all been kind of going, how's that? Like, does that affect what you're seeing, your feelings on things, or you're like, no, I'm landing in a good spot no matter what?
It definitely plays into when you're weighing your options and things like that. But like I was saying earlier, it's kind of hard to tell this year because we're still technically going on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, once the Super Bowl is over with and free agency gets started, then we'll have a better picture of how it's going.
It's interesting in baseball. I'd have friends that would become free agents, and they would tell me, my agent's handling all of it. I don't do anything. And then some guys were hands-on. Do you feel like in this case you'll be hands-on, or you'll be a guy like, look, my agent's handling that. I'm getting ready for a season. When my agent tells me there's a deal, we'll sign a deal.
Pretty much the second option.
Yeah.
A little bit more, just let my agent do the dirty work.
That's why you
do
hired
all of that, and yeah.
Did you get frustrated this year? Because last year you had some explosive plays, And this year, there was like, man, every once in a while, there'd just be a clip of the back of the ankle, and it's like, dang, I almost had it right there. Was that frustrating to you, or was there something else that you were feeling throughout the season?
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating at times. Just not being able to have those explosive runs as many I had last year. But a lot of that came with our scheme. Our scheme was different from last year. I feel like last year was more of a run the ball to pass the ball type scheme.
Yeah.
And this year was more of a pass the ball to run the ball scheme. So it kind of played into our play call and the way we did things on offense.
What's it like running behind Zach Martin, though? Like when you – I like that face that he makes right there. That's a –
Man, you hope they run the ball every play. If you run his side, you're in good hands.
I kind of feel that way a lot of times about the left side of the line, too.
You're really in good hands the entire line.
Yeah.
Our whole line is legit.
We always hear about, like, how close the offensive line is. How important is it for the running backs to, like, not be in that crew, but, like, kind of get that continuity and that relationship going?
Yeah, the running backs definitely have to have a bond with the O-line. You definitely have to be in close with them, communicate with them, talk to them around football, outside of football, just building that chemistry.
Is there anything in particular that y'all bonded over non-football stuff? Because, like, you do football all day. I imagine you don't want to get off of work or be done with practice, be done with film study, and be like, let's talk more about football. Is there anything, because we bonded with Zach Martin over The Sopranos, and is there anything in particular that y'all bonded over?
We went out to eat before. Went out to eat, got a couple drinks, just chilling, vibing.
Yeah.
So when it came to the playoff game, we're texting each other because obviously for a living we have to talk about it the next day. When it became 27-0, we were pretty much like, what the F is happening? You're in the game. You're on the sideline. As that game in the first half gets to be 20-0 and then 27-0, how are you guys trying to handle that? You're looking up at a scoreboard and going, I'm assuming, what the F is happening here?
Personally in my head, I'm telling myself, I know on offense we're gonna go out there and we're gonna make up for the miscues that we had on offense, and we're gonna get the ball in the end zone several times. So I was thinking that we'll come out on offense strong, get a touchdown, defense would shut them out for the majority of the game, and then we would be back into the game. That's how I was looking at it. Yeah. And then it really was just a little bit too little, too late.
How tough is it to change momentum in an NFL football game, especially against another playoff team?
It's tough. It's any given Sunday. Any team that you play against can come out with the win. So it's definitely tough when you put yourself behind like that.
We had this argument all leading into the season, and then throughout the season, and I think everybody kind of came to the conclusion that anybody that said otherwise was wrong. But people were saying at the beginning of the season, CeeDee Lamb was not a number one receiver.
Preposterous.
And I was like, you guys, you got to watch this guy a little bit closer. And by the end of the season, I think everybody was like, okay, we finally figured that out. The way that dude works in practice, the techniques that he works on, you see that translate out on the field that way too?
Definitely. Everything that you see in the games, like if it's a week that he had a big game that week, like that week in practice, he had big practices all week. Like he was the guy getting most of the ball, making plays at practice. So it definitely correlates from practice to the field.
And that relationship around the room, too, everybody starts going, because we would talk about Dirk Nowitzki a lot. And then we were always like, we feel good because we got Dirk. And I always felt like when this year, I was like, I feel good because we got CD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
By the time you got to Saturday, were you like, you already know, like about CeeDee Lamb? You're like, I already know.
Yeah.
Now, the last 2 years, what do you feel like you've shown the rest of the league or the Cowboys? It can be however you want. What do you think you've shown in the last 2 years? Because obviously, I'm sure you get tired of this question and you hear it as, is he a number one? Blah 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 blah. In the last 2 years, what do you think you've shown in that respect?
That I'm not a gadget guy. I'm not a here and there type player. That I can be a every down player. I can be there on third downs. I can be there on third and short goal line runs. I can be there to pick up pressures. Being able to do it all.
Was there anything along that way that was the most irritating? Because I can imagine as a running back, which clearly I am not, is you can't convert on 3rd and 1. That would really piss me off if I heard that all the time.
I stopped hearing it once I got rid of.
Yeah. Social media. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point.
Your pass protection this year became like a point of why did you start saying, I want to do this better? And who was somebody else come to you and say, hey, you need to do this better? Where did that start?
Honestly, I feel like I've always been pretty good in pass protection. It's just the repetition, just being back there more often and getting comfortable with it. And because I've always been able to go in there and pick up a blitz and stop a guy coming to hit the quarterback. But when you just do it over and over, you get better, and you find ways to simplify it and make it easier for you. So
you see there's some of those guys you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to hit him in the hip or something like this one. Like, who was the you see a blitzer coming through that you're just like, I can't wait to light this guy up.
A lot of it depends on like the angles and how far I'm aligned and how close the linebacker's aligned. If he's inside the line and he's blitzing from right there, like I can't go to him and just fit him up. Like I got to run, shoot, and throw at him because I don't have time to do all that. So just being aware, learning those type of different techniques, and just over time getting better.
So one of my buddies that I grew up with, we call him Little Ricky Williams because he was the one that went to Texas Tech and then played a few years in the NFL. And he said it was a tougher moment for him. His first ever game at Texas Tech, they played at Tennessee. And when he got hit from high school to college, that first time he hit the hole, it was a different game from going from Duncanville to playing against Tennessee. I'm wondering, was it bigger for you that first time you took a big hit in the NFL or the first time you took a big hit at Memphis?
I would say probably the first time I took a big hit at Memphis.
Yeah.
Because Memphis, I was doing a lot of open space things, so the hits that I was getting were like guys running full speed, getting the load up, and like I was doing kick return, I was a receiver in the slot, so those full speed collisions. So yeah. I definitely would say the Memphis hits.
Since the time you've been in Dallas, have you shifted barbecue allegiances at all? Have you come around to the Texas way at all? Where do we stand on that?
I definitely like Texas barbecue, but Memphis is still my favorite.
But we can like all barbecues. It doesn't have to be an either or scenario, right?
I'm saying if I had to pick, but I like both for sure.
What's your go-to barbecue order?
Fill out a 3-plate.
I like Hutchins. So I normally get some ribs, get some brisket, some pulled pork, and probably get some green beans, macaroni and cheese, peach cobbler.
And how much sauce? Is it a little bit of sauce you're putting on? No sauce? A lot of sauce?
I don't put sauce on. The only thing I put sauce on is the pulled pork.
Yeah, and Hutchins good too. Yeah, man, I want some Hutchins right now. As a matter of
I just got a little bit drooly.
Yeah, well, they're going to talk about eating for a minute. Something I thought you'd be uniquely qualified to give some insight on is the hip drop tackle. Mm-hmm. Now they're talking about getting rid of the hip drop tackle, and then the NFLPA said that would be detrimental to the game. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I like the idea of them trying to do it and protect the players, but me playing football my whole life, knowing football, I played both sides. So I know, I don't think you can realistically get rid of that type of tackle. It's football. You're trying to tackle me, and I'm trying not to let you tackle me. So it's going to be awkward sometimes. It's going to be weird positions that's not,
which unfortunately lead to injuries sometimes. Exactly. Everything,
That takes me back to the first time we ever talked at training camp, and you were like, "I'm trying not to get hit. That's my whole goal is to run away from them."
That's always been my goal.
I don't want to take on hits. That's not my thing.
Do you have a specific rooting interest in this Super Bowl? Because, not to say anything bad about the 49ers, but I'll just say screw the 49ers. I would like the Chiefs to win because of the way some of these seasons have ended. Do you have rooting interest in this game?
If I had to guess who was going to win, I would go with the Chiefs. I just can't go against Mahomes. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
He's different, man. He's definitely a different player.
You don't have to comment on this, Tony, but I think if I had to put my money on it, I think Kellen Moore is going to pull for a Tony Pollard in Philadelphia. So if I had to put my money on it next year,
man,
Tony Pollard
doing all the tampering before the season's over.
I think Kellen Moore is going to be talking to that front office in Philadelphia and saying, "I want Tony in my system."
One of my biggest fears. It really is.
Well, he's not. He can't say anything about that. So sorry about that.
Blink twice.
No.
Okay, all right.
Man, thank you very, very much for jumping on the show today, but also for everything the last several years. Hopefully, we will continue these interviews going forward. But I understand it's a business, so appreciate your time, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me.